I come from the future, and I know exactly how this story can end. Okay, maybe not the future, but I come from Brazil, which is not that different, as my country has become a laboratory for censorship and judicial authoritarianism. Since 2019, it's been used as a testing ground for the judicial weaponization against conservative, libertarians, and Christians, always under the noble pretense of protecting democracy, fighting misinformation, and stopping extremism, while in reality, silencing dissidents, controlling narratives, and criminalizing opposition. We continue to face the dire consequences of this experiment every day. Just 3 days ago, my father, former president of Brazil, Jair Bolsonaro, was formally charged by the Attorney General of the current socialist government with allegedly orchestrating a coup, a Disneyland coup d'etat, as some might call it, without weapons, without a plan, and while he wasn't even in Brazilian territory, but in Orlando, probably debating strategy with Goofy, and taking national security advices from Mickey Mouse, maybe. It's really the Disneyland coup d'etat. There is no other word to talk about it. This baseless accusation, entirely devoid of evidence, is nothing more than a tool to neutralize political opposition. It mirrors the same tactics used against the opposition in Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua. Yet in Brazil is perceived differently on the global stage because while its situation is in some ways even worse, the persecution is not spearheaded by the executive branch, but by the judiciary. And that makes it all the more dangerous. We are not talking about a dictatorship in the traditional sense. We are talking about a place where tyrants issue decrees and suppress opposition openly. No. In Brazil, the judicial system has been weaponized, creating an illusion of legality while systematically dismantling democracy from within. And guess who helped found this experiment? Right? Agencies like USAID and NED, institutions supposedly dedicated for promoting democracy, but in reality, channeling resources into censorship, judicial overreach, and political persecution in my country. Let me introduce to you a man named Alexandre de Moraes. He is not an elected official. He is a Supreme Court justice who has given himself unchecked power to decide who can speak, who can run for office, and even who can go to the prison. Under his watch, Brazil has become a country where social media platforms are forced to silence opposition voices or face billions in fines. Judges and bureaucrats, not the people, decide who is fit to run for office. Congressmen like Daniel Silveira are thrown into jail for so-called opinion crimes, receiving an outrageous sentence of 8 years and 9 months behind bars, simply for exposing his views in a video, a punishment more fitting of a totalitarian regime than a democracy. And, as I said, even the former president, Jair Bolsonaro, is at risk of being arrested on the same kind of bogus charges used against opposition leaders in Venezuela, Cuba, and Nicaragua. But it doesn't stop there. The judicial system has become an instrument for persecution at every level. Political parties that challenge the status quo are harassed and investigated, and some of their candidates are banned from competing fairly in elections. Independent journalists face exile or worse, imprisonment for exposing government corruption or criticizing the judiciary. Ordinary citizens who dare to express dissenting opinions on social media find themselves banned, fined, or even arrested. This is not democracy. This is a judicial overreach. This is lawfare.